Hello. So, fast dry top coat.
Oh, wow.
I'm just telling Naoto that yesterday I passed through a supermarket, like
Shopping mall.
the shopping mall, and then I bought some things, very nice things, to a very cheap price. So I don't want to say which shop was it.
Oh.
Also
Is it gonna be like political or what?
Also because I don't feel comfortable. I mean, that's something that
To be ashamed.
yeah, and I'm not proud of like buying. I mean, the price that I'm paying for that. I'm getting more conscious in time. And anyway, so yeah, so I will be doing my nails and stuff while we speak.
Oh, yeah.
Where are we now, Tom?
So this is the Academy for Theater and Intentionality, and what? Well, I mean, this is a chat.
This is a chat.
This is a chat, as always. Probably like 5 people will watch it, and so that I don't. I don't.
No,
really
there's more
want
than
to,
5.
Your grandma.
No,
Your mom, maybe.
No, like there's this friend. I know there are like 3 people from my side who always are watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, mom.
And yeah.
But today we have some kind of focus
Yes.
about.
As you see, we are
about
very
glitter.
focused. We are very focused. You know what you're doing. Don't get distracted for these things.
Okay, this is something happening.
It's happening, but we are talking of serious stuff.
Serious stuff, yes. So yeah, so Flo is not here because she's not part of this club. Oh,
But no, basically it's because she's just busy.
Yeah, she's just busy.
She's busy.
She's busy.
No, and I like this rebranding. Like I like these best glitches when we are the 3 of us together. I think works so well. I'm surprised, but I have already this hypothesis before coming. I thought like this should work in terms of a structure because of because it's practice based. So it works so well, and to be honest, I was thinking that also it works so much better, to be honest, on the space with her because she's a woman also, and so you and me are queer, and she has her own energy, and I think she refreshes so much what we do. I was feeling that when we are just the 3 of us, and you and me, we have ways how to interact with the ways of things that we do. Actually, in a way, we have found we are quite sharp in what we do. Like we are quite in the sense of, for instance, like you take care of the camera. That was one of my notes and things. By the way, like I wanted to say, like that's something that like I think you're doing a great job with getting better in that. Because that's one of the most difficult things that I have found, like working with media art, is to documenting. Is something that sounds like super silly, and you think, yeah, I will take pictures, and you finish your work, and then you realize 2 days after, oh wait, maybe I have like a crappy picture of 3 months of work or something. So that's so good. Like you're doing like good job, like in this, and how you're taking picture, how you're recording constantly, and yeah. But so going back to a thing like this best glitches framework, that basically is when there are we three in the same space, and in this framework has been here, but also not always in this space. But we have tried in a space that is next to it, that is not full of these objects that have been constructed by Naoto and Flor during his residence at the Academy
for theater.
For theater of the Theater of Dortmund.
Yeah.
Um,
We had a space in the Dortmund U, with the dome, where we worked with dome projection.
We have done a lot of things in short
and we
time.
did in the sharing in the hotel room.
Yeah, we have done a lot of different things. I'm really happy, like to be honest, like one of the things that I put.
Hello.
Hola Florencia. Ana, come Florencia, come to say hello at least. Don't be like this. Florencia. Flor is like, it's super nice because she's pink and I'm green. ¿Ya terminaste?
We're like a flower.
Yes.
I will put here. So you can open your arms and I'm like
Oh.
So I leave you on the chat.
But you should
Yeah,
join.
if you
or
if
not.
you finish, if you want, you should
No,
join.
I'm fine. Continue.
Okay,
and-
all right. So let's talk bad about her. Not that she left. No. So
We want
yeah.
to talk about interaction design.
Yeah, but like just to close
This-
this, like the because that for me is important for the practice. Is in my
Role.
no, not the role, but I think once it's just it works so well. I'm really impressed that from the day one when we come into the space, that I have no idea, and then the three of us in a way start like doing stuff without asking too much or like very little. Like, are you performing right now? But I'm very happy. I think Flor brings this completely different energy because you and me, we are very different. That's why I think it's very rich what we do. But I think still we have it's not the same. Like when she comes into the space, like in terms of I think in gender also like it just refreshes a lot.
Yeah.
And also I think that's what just maybe to close with that is I think it has to be with this idea of I think we have been quite sharp. Like in our practice we became very sharp, when we say that this hour and this we are like boom, 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 and that's why we don't talk too much. We just like and in between is whatever, but when we have to talk then we are like tun, tun, tun. With Flora it's completely different the melange, and that brings a lot of air into this. Wow, voila. So that's to say thank you, Flor. So yes, so I think the idea. What was the idea and on this chat? The intention of this chat part in particular now.
Right. So we three are working together. We haven't really used the space so much, and partly because we don't know what to do with objects. We have a lot of things that we could make use of, but sometimes you don't know what to do with it or what you are allowed to do it, not to break things.
Right.
But that's actually like it already came up this question because when we opened up to visitors, they're always wondering, can I touch this or not? Or they don't ask and do something wrong, quote unquote.
Right.
That we have to intervene. No, you're not supposed to touch this. How about you're supposed to touch this? And this is kind of, but maybe it's actually interesting process that negotiation. But yeah, I just want to open up this question a little bit more, talk about it. What can we do? What
Yeah.
with the objects, elements?
So I think like part of so this conversation is within this framework. So I'm here. So they're doing a residence for 5 months, and I'm here for 2 weeks. Within this role of mentor. So then in 2 weeks, I basically my focus was in trying to share a choreographic practice and ideas on dramaturgy, I think. I'm also an interaction designer, so then today when we were talking, then Naoto thought like, oh, while you're here, maybe it could be interesting if you can say something about interaction design. So, voila. Then I have some notes.
Yeah, basically we looked up at things we have, not everything, but we
You
mostly
give me, you give me a
tour.
tour, and then they were saying, yeah, some of my notes is like, they're using constantly these cursors, like the one that you see here. Actually, no, I don't have it. It's a necklace that I have, and it's becoming a famous, the infamous cursor.
Oh, famous.
Uh,
Famous is not the right word.
The infamous cursor. So there are. Can you see it? Can you see it there? I guess.
I guess, yes.
Wow, the looks of that. Let's just sit there next to it.
Yep.
The looks are nice. Can I be here? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that they're working on, they put it in my own words and notes, is this materialization of trace of movement. So you see here like different cursors, and then idea like if you could imagine like how a cursor will leave traces, like you can imagine if you know what is a feedback, what will happen in the screen if the screen is not clean every time the cursor is moving. So this idea of materialization of traces of the movement on the screen. There was one element that I put. Another one was this idea of windows. So windows and I think. Wait, you want to say something about windows?
What do you mean by windows, actually? I want to ask.
Like windows, like for instance, like that's a window.
Curtain.
Like yeah, but I think it's like Flor like mentioned it nicely in the way of like windows as a gate, basically.
Like a portal.
As a portal. So we have different portals that reveal things.
Because we all have projection on every surface.
Yeah, so that it will reveal. So this idea of windows and then revealing what is hidden, which I think that's a feedback for you guys. I think you're doing a good work in revealing, but not in hiding, and that's about darkness. You know, like I think there's no consciousness. I mean, or it could be more work towards darkness and in hidden. You're doing good work in revealing, and you have a lot of ideas, but maybe it will be interesting to reverse the work, which is what we did in Cologne. It's just focusing instead of the light in hiding. And what you hide for sure you will show.
Yeah.
Because you cannot escape from light, as we know from physics. So the windows are amazing. I think in terms of like, you know, like they also open, close, you know, so they work also conceptually. You know, like open, closing. The windows are very prolific elements, and a concept also. Okay, and then I go to what is like intentionality and interaction design. So when they were showing me some elements, for instance, like this, for instance, like they say like the ideally was like perhaps you come here and then you move a bit, or at least in the intention when it was built, that it proposes motion. Like the idea, if I understood correctly, is like you come and then you start playing with the motion because it's an object that can be moved. This is one of the objects, for instance, that can be touched and move in certain way.
Like giving affordance.
Yeah, so like it has these weights, so this is one of those who can be touched. There are other elements that, for instance, like if this is something that it works electronically and it will do this kind of via motor.
Yeah, it just spins with some changes.
So in a way, like this is something that you won't touch. You know, like you don't want people maybe to touch because they might damage the connection or something like this. And like this, you find different ones. You know, like this. You know, like this is very. Maybe this gives me a space in between. So what I want to say is like, in terms of interaction design, and then so then specifically we're talking about design, because I think it's easier. Before going to art, is like, you need to like, or that's what I learned with the school is, you start working with this idea that people don't understand anything, right? So, in terms of interaction design, it is like, for instance, why the way you construct from the in a cup, the hand like already is given it's always the affordance is implicit in the design process. if it's not in the shape, it is clearly in big letters, or like there is not in the straightforward like design, then you have this response to a problem. So it's not about creating the framework for people to reflect upon other things, which is more the domain of the art. You create the framework.
With the knowledge you have based on.
Which is this is like
References.
this is like the art, like it's totality. You come here and then you start grounded and then finding in your references what is this to me, what does it mean, and so going to the design process, just the design, it responds to a problem. The chair is built to sit, right? So then when you speak about interaction design, we speak about how to interact with some objects they want to be interact with. So for instance, this is an object that we don't want the interaction with. I think this is a good example because by itself and also for the technology and the complexity,
Right.
as an user, you don't want to touch it. You know, you are like, maybe it's gonna get broken or something. This, for example, is a good example of the opposite, because it's so beautiful. Then when you arrive, you don't know, like, if, for instance, I'm used to go to art frameworks and things like this, so I will be more used to, I would be more daring to touch. And when I came here for the first time, it still is like, I don't know if it's gonna break or something, right? So this is the extreme opposite of this. This you understand, you don't touch, and so it's welcome, so you don't want this to touch. But if you want this to be touched, it has to be explicit somehow. And then we can speak about that maybe later. This is just to introduce that. And something in between is this example of this. Maybe can you show with the camera the curtain?
Or I can just, yeah.
This is a curtain, so it's also coming from this idea of windows. This is something in between,
I see.
because it's not complete. You don't completely know, like as a user, but also won't give you so much trouble in your head.
I mean, unless like there's like a corridor and this is in the middle, that you are confronted by this thing and you have to go through, for example, then you know what it is. But if it's just hanging in the space,
Yeah, also because it's in terms of complexity, like that's why I'm trying to put it like this, like in layers, because if you compare this object next to that one, this is a very simple object. Next to the window is full of objects. The window is a sculpture. I will say that's a sculpture, and this is an object. You see why I'm saying that?
you mean more like a set, like a stage
It's
set.
like let's say a set of things. This is a set of things. This is a compile of different elements. This is one thing. Although it has different lines, it is not so complex.
As it is, like it's made as
It doesn't look that it's gonna break if I touch it.
right.
If I go there, I'm not sure how to interact with such a thing.
I see.
So unlike these, there are other elements that you can think like, and then it's going back to the idea of interaction, and this is going back to the idea of then choreography and so forth, dramaturgy, then taking decisions like what are the things that I want to. And then you can start speaking how to, not before.
Okay. Like how? Like in what sense?
In the strategy, you're like first then defining what are the things that I want the people to interact, what are the things that I don't want people to touch,
Right.
and then once you define them, because you need to give a space in your head to not keep everything as an abstraction. So then you define that once they're defined, then you start going the list of those elements that you want to be interactive, and then you start going strategically in each of them. And then maybe you find common similarities. For instance, like this has a chord, there's a chord. Like, is there a way how to connect this? But I think normally, that would be a process like defining first, like what are those objects that we want the people to interact with, and then how, not the other way around.
I see.
That's classical. That's just like interaction design, like just like straightforward, like not making too much complications from the beginning.
Right.
In the sense, like for what you guys propose, that in a way similar to what we propose in a hybrid performance, is ontological, meaning that is taking distance from knowledge, like so. This that I'm speaking is from knowledge. I learned that from the school. Somebody taught me. There are some people. It's coming from somewhere. Exactly. But our practice is ontological in the sense that it's developed on the go, through sense making, through making sense of the space. So that's.
But that works because everyone's in the space. Because it's not like.
Yeah, no, but that's exactly. I think that works for the three of us because we are in the space and we are. These are not aliens to us.
Right.
We in a way have some understanding. I have seen videos of you. We know each other. So although the elements are super strange when I came here for the first time, I will dare to I will dare to maybe touch a bit. But imagine how much distance will be for somebody who just see it for the first time.
Right.
I don't know you.
Yeah.
So in terms of interaction, if what you want is the people to interact, this is absolutely not inviting to do that.
Right. I think we should cut and like work on that list, like as an activity with including floor for sure. But one thing, I have a question. We don't have to answer now, but where does a computer lies in that sense of what you can touch, what you cannot touch? Because I've seen like when we did like showing in this space, we had computers.
Yeah.
And like a display, like part of this setup, like on the desk.
And we have an installation, a cluster of installation here.
Yeah, but this is here. You don't see it, but it's like it just displays.
Yeah.
But-
Like the interaction happens somewhere else. The triggers.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say is like there is a desk, like a table, and displayed laptop. That is, for some people, it's inviting to touch. Because it's a laptop, you know how to use it.
Yeah.
But for some people, it's just an
But you
object.
mean like an audience?
Anybody as a visitor.
As a visitor.
Yeah.
But then what is the question? I didn't understand.
The question is it something like this that you feel, okay, I can touch it, I can use it? Or is it more like a sculpture that if there is a sculpture, you wouldn't touch it?
Yeah.
It can go both ways, and I think that's something we don't have to answer. I think.
Maybe I just want to close with this that is coming from the Jonathan Burr's book, we have spoken about this. And in that sense, like for instance, like your colleague from Cologne, he did a great job in that, in a, how is it called, team?
Yeah.
Jonathan Burr says about the space, about the contract with the space. Like as an audience, you understand how you should perform with the space from the entrance. So if I enter the space and I see there is some invitation, let's say the computer is open, for instance, then I might assume, if there's the opposite, if there are just two people working, is at the entrance, and that's what I was saying, like the way how he did it was great because he has a chair the opposite way around. It was so symbolic and so simple that it still invites you to go, and you have to make sense of it, so you have to make some work around. But that's the contract. This is weird. It's a chair that is inverted. And I think that's a good way to...
Right. If it's like an office with a computer, you're not sure if you're going to touch it. I don't know. Maybe that's not a good example then. But we can just talk about it.
Yeah, we can just talk about it.
So, thank you for watching.
Thanks.
And please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next episode. Did we say it for the chat? Yeah, anyways.
See you next time.